Welcome back to True Story with John Gibson. Today we have a really exciting guest, undefeated bare knuckle boxing champ, Jomi Escoboza. How are you, bro?
Hey, how's it going? I'm good. You know, here working
Exactly right. We were just talking offline. This is the real life of a fighter, ladies and gentlemen. So here's my man holding it down at work. I appreciate you so much finding the time to kind of speak with us today. I'm really pumped up to talk to you, but also talk about your fight coming up too, man.
Yeah, man, it's an exciting fight. It's a great matchup on the biggest card of the year. You know, let me take off this mask, you know, so
Sure,
you can have it. But yeah, it's the biggest card of the year, Knucklemania 2, and one of the biggest promotions, you know, and it's a good matchup. This guy, you know, he might have come off a loss right now, but he's young and he's ready to fight. And I've been waiting since I won that belt to keep proving everybody that I'm the best in the world, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. For those who aren't aware, you can check it out on BKTV, streaming live, or also they'll record it. You can check it afterwards on pay-per-view. But it'll also be at the Hard Rock Casino in Hollywood, Florida. So if you're in the area, make it out. Obviously, support my man here. But like he said, it's the biggest show of the year. He's defending his belt. Your opponent is Zion, man. I did get to check him out a little. He is skilled, you know. You've had all sorts of fights. You've seen it all, and we'll get to that a little bit. But what's your assessment about Zion?
I mean, he's young, he comes forward, and he's strong, has speed. So I'm prepared for all of that. You know, I'm prepared for everything that he brings to the table. Our camp studied, you know, all of his fights, all of his previous fights. You know, I kind of have a I have a very good picture of, you know, what he's going to do coming into my fight. So I'm prepared for everything. The people that I train with are on, like, you know, levels way higher than him. So it's just like I'm always in more danger in sparring than I would be in the ring. And I'm always prepared for everything, for every kind of style. I go in there and I dictate, you know, the pace. I make it my fight all the time. So, but I'm really excited for the matchup because, like, you know, everybody can get knocked out when you're in the ring.
Yes.
You know, so everybody's a danger. So even though I have confidence, and, you know, that I know I'm gonna destroy and I know I'm gonna win, I always go in there, you know, full focus, calculated, and make sure that I can't get caught with anything because, you know, one just takes one shot for anybody.
Absolutely. Well, you are for sure a ring general, but you're right. Bare knuckle in particular, one shot. And you've had those fights. I've seen you know, come out a quick win, 1-2 shots. And then I've seen some other guys that were just so stubborn. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. You know, bare knuckle is so exciting. And honestly, as a fan, I got into it about a year ago. I'd say Phil Baroni got me into it, and then Chris Lieben got me really into it. And then from there, Data introduced me to you, and, you know, and then I started following you. And again, I love your technique, man. I feel like you have this reach, this jab. You always, like, have really good footwork. What's your boxing background, man? What's your pedigree? Where'd you come from?
So originally, like, I was, you know, playing football and sports in high school and, you know, little leagues growing up. I've always wanted to fight, but my parents didn't want me to fight.
Wow.
So then I did one semester in college football, like a Division III college in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. And I didn't really take it seriously. Like, I went up there and, like, kind of took it almost as a vacation. Like, I didn't really want to, because I wasn't passionate for football. It was something that I was good at, but I wasn't, like, passionate for.
Mm-hmm.
And then something that my parents, you know, pushed for, because they're more about studies and school and going to school and all that. So then while I went up there, I actually saw the pay-per-view fight of Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin.
Yeah.
And when I saw that fight, I told myself, and I told my little brother who was with me, I was like, watch, I'm going to take this semester off, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm just going to train. And then I took maybe 1 year of training, like in an old Kung Fu dojo, like a very small setting, you know. And then after that, I took a year off. And then, so it was like 2 years after college. And then after that, I went into America Top Team Coconut Creek, and I started over there. Then I went over there for maybe a year, left, and then went to another small amateur gym, which was Imperial. And then most of the instructors there were Black Zillion pro fighters at the time. So yeah, so I was getting, like, good training while I was an amateur, taking fights. And I was kind of, like, hard-headed as an amateur. I took fights without proper training camps and stuff like that. against really like really tough matchups, and I've lost like title fights as an amateur and stuff like that just because I just take the fight and not train. But I learned my lessons, and then I got into the backyard with Dada fighting with
Right.
my friends.
Yeah. I'm glad we're covering that, man. Crazy.
Yeah. And then so one of my friends, Redman Barnes, Jermaine Redman Barnes, he was back there fighting, beating people up. He hit me up. He was like, "Yo, would you want to do that?" I was like, "Hey, for some money, I'll do it." I went back there, took a couple fights back there. Dada started making moves, made it a whole promotion, made everything legal, and then it finally became legal, and all these other promotions started coming out of nowhere. And yeah, just build myself up from the backyard. And since I started going on a run, I just stuck in the bare knuckle for a little bit.
It's so amazing to me that it's so atypical, man. You go to college and then said, "Nah, I'm going to be a fighter. That's my real passion." You waited, not that you waited, but that's amazing that was like you followed your heart and you took the chance. And obviously it's working out for you, but I never would have guessed that because I'd heard you fighting in the backyard with Dada. So I thought you were like Jorge Masvidal. I just thought you were one of these guys that did it all the time, That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so it was kind of like I've always wanted to fight since I was little. Since I was 4 years old, I wanted to be a ninja. So I've always wanted to fight, but my parents were like, school. Yeah. Then after that one semester, I told myself, I don't care what anybody says. Nobody's opinion is going to affect my goals. I want to do this. And I just went all in.
It's beautiful. It's awesome to bet on yourself, man. And look, you're the champion. You got the belt. You're defending the belt. Awesome opportunity too. And headlining, at the Hollywood or Hard Rock, it's amazing. It's just like for sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool evolution from a backyard.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's crazy how, it started in the backyard and then, keep grinding and make it to the top.
One other question I wanted to ask too was because I'm a fan, so I checked out a lot of your previous interviews, things I'd found on YouTube and stuff, and it makes sense now because you just touched on it a little bit. But you had sort of referred to previous in interviews that you also trained kickboxing, MMA. You always tried to be pretty versatile, which makes sense now that you had Black Zillions and all these different influences. Do you think that you would ever try to make the change up the road to an MMA or a kickboxing, or you really are comfortable in bare knuckle?
So yeah, for sure. The goal is always, not always, but to get to a huge MMA promotion and establish myself also in MMA. I started off my pro MMA career kind of, rough. Like I got one win the first fight, and then I went on a 3-fight losing streak. So I definitely have to fix that record pretty soon. But for right now, since I'm in a nice little streak in bare knuckle, and I've been establishing myself as one of the best. And I have the opportunity to keep winning and become the first lineal champion in bare knuckle boxing. So right. I'm trying to take the belt from each organizations, all the the top organizations in bare knuckle, and prove to everybody I'm the best bare knuckle fighter right now. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that's pretty cool too, because I've seen you hold it down and was it BYB. Now it's your Bare Knuckle FC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes total sense to me. That's a great strategy. Again, man, you have amazing boxing pedigree, but your stamina is really good too. You've had some 5-round fights there where I'm like, I can't believe this is still going.
Yeah.
They've been really surprising, and that's, again, it's just a different level of the way I talk about bare knuckle. Some people get scared sometimes, and I'm like, do you remember what it felt like when you first saw MMA, how exciting that was? I go, that's bare knuckle. I go, it's like reliving that,
Yeah, for sure. It's a brand new sport. It's only a few years old. And yeah, man, it's a great opportunity right now for fighters to establish themselves as some of the best fighters in the world, and this is a new sport, man. It's time to create some faces, and exactly. I'm definitely one of them.
Yeah, and you're definitely one of them, man. You're on the forefront. Again, thank you, Jomi. Thank you so much for all your time. Where can people reach out to you? And also, I give you an opportunity for any shout outs. If you want to give anybody a shout out as well, I'd love to give you an opportunity for that.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my management team and my small group team that I train with, called Team KO Committee. They always get me ready for my fights. My head manager, Rob, always gets me ready. He's the mastermind, he's the Jedi mind. that
you need that guy.
Calculates everything. Yeah, he calculates everything. He's the one that you hear yelling out the crazy codes. He's basically like the player, and he's like the controller, and I'm the player inside there.
Yeah.
And huge shout out to Sanford MMA, also huge, one of the biggest MMA teams ever, like in the world right now. Over there, I'm in the most danger in the training room when it comes to the training and the fight. They prepare me all times. I'm ready for any kind of style. It's just a mix of all different type of high level fighters from all these upper, top organizations and different styles. So it makes you keep, stay on your P's and Q's. So a huge shout out to them also. And then shout out to my family first and foremost. That's like I say the best for last, but my family.
Above all, right?
It's a huge shout out, because they always support me and everything. And then a part of my family, my girl, she's like my nutritionist and like my manager too. She keeps my weight on point. She keeps everything organized for me. She helps me out with everything, and it makes life so much easier for me to just train.
Amazing. Awesome. I'm glad you have the team behind you, man. I will be watching, obviously rooting for you. The fight's in a couple weeks. I think, is it the 29th or something? Or the 19th?
No,
That's right.
The 19th, exactly 2 weeks from now. So at this time, I'm going to be warming up, chilling, getting ready to collect another body.
I can't wait, man. Let's get another belt around this guy's waist. Jomi, thank you again. True story, John Gibson. Jomi Escoboza. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.